Bad man, shadows, guns. The words tore from Leo's throat, raw, desperate, wrong-sounding even to his own ears. His hands flapped wildly at his sides, his whole body shaking as he pointed toward the old pavilion, where shadows moved like oil slicks against sunlight. Nobody listened. They never did. Before we dive deeper into this heart-stopping moment, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss how this unfolds. And drop a comment telling me what city you are watching from. I want to see how far Leo's story travels. Now let's get back to the park where everything changed. Leo's sneakers slapped against the grass, each step sending shockwaves up his legs that felt like tiny explosions. Too much. Everything was too much. The music from the speakers stabbed at his ears, children's laughter came at him in waves that made his skin crawl, and the smell of hot dogs and cotton candy twisted his stomach into knots. But none of that mattered because of what he'd seen. 4 men, dark clothes, metal that caught sunlight in sharp, terrible flashes. Leo, honey, come back here. His foster mother's voice barely registered. She was talking to someone, laughing, her hand gestures big and sweeping. She hadn't heard him. She never really heard him. The big man, the one everyone called Rook, was crouched down in front of a little girl, maybe 5 years old. Her blonde pigtails were bouncing as she giggled. The girl held a stuffed bear that was almost as big as she was, and Rook's massive hands, scarred, tattooed, capable of terrible things, Leo somehow knew were gentle as he adjusted the ribbon around the bear's neck. "There you go, princess," Rook said, his voice like gravel tumbling in a cement mixer, but soft. Wrong soft for a man that size. "Mr. Bear is all fixed up." "Thank you, Mr. Giant." The little girl threw her arms around Rook's neck, and Leo saw something flash across the big man's face. Pain, maybe. Or something older than pain. Leo's feet kept moving. 20 yards. 15. His breath came in short gasps that didn't fill his lungs right. Words bunched up in his throat, fighting each other, turning into sounds that made sense only to him. "Rook," a woman's voice sharp with amusement, came from Leo's left. "You trying to steal all the kids' hearts today?" Rook straightened up, his leather vest creaking, patches catching the light. Iron Titans, MC President, Purple Heart. Each patch told a story Leo couldn't read but could somehow feel. "Just doing my civic duty, Lila." Rook's smile was crooked, like it didn't quite fit his face. "Someone's got to make sure these kids have a good day." 10 yards. Leo's vision tunneled. He could see them now, the men in the pavilion, moving with purpose. One checked his watch. Another adjusted something under his jacket. A third spoke into his sleeve. The fourth scanned the crowd, his eyes cold and flat like a shark's. And all of them, all 4, had their attention fixed on one target. The man crouched in front of a giggling 5-year-old girl. "Bad man." Leo's voice cracked on the words. "Shadows, guns." Rook's head turned. Not fast, but with the kind of awareness that came from years of staying alive, when staying alive wasn't all guaranteed. His eyes found Leo, and something in them shifted. Recognition, maybe. Or just the ability to read fear when he saw it painted across a child's face. "Hey there, buddy." Rook's voice dropped lower, steadier. "What's going on?" Leo pointed, his whole arm shaking. They have, the words scattered like startled birds. "Metal, flashing, dark men, watching you." "Leo," his foster mother appeared, her face flushed with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, he gets overstimulated. He doesn't mean to interrupt." "Ma'am." Rook held up one hand, his eyes never leaving Leo's face. "Give us a minute." The woman's mouth opened, closed. Something in Rook's tone made her step back. Rook lowered himself onto one knee, bringing his face level with Leo's. Up close, he was all hard angles and old scars. A jaw that looked like it had been broken and reset more than once. Eyes that had seen things no eyes should see. But his hands, when they settled gently on Leo's shoulders, were steady. "I need you to breathe for me, okay? In through your nose, out through your mouth. Can you do that?" Leo tried, failed, tried again. A thin stream of air rattled into his lungs. "Good. That's good. Now I need you to tell me what you saw. Take your time. Use whatever words come." 4. Leo held up fingers, watched them tremble. 4 dark men. Pavilion, old pavilion. Shadows. They have... He made a gun shape with it, his hand, his thumb coming down like a hammer. "Watching you, all watching you." Rook's expression didn't change. Not one muscle in his face moved, but something happened behind his eyes, something that reminded Leo of a door slamming shut and bolting from the inside. Which pavilion? Leo pointed again, and this time Rook followed the line of his arm. 3 seconds. That's all it took. 3 seconds for a trained Marine to scan, assess, and confirm the threat. Jesus Christ, Rook breathed. Then louder to someone over his shoulder, Axel. 9 o'clock Old Pavilion, 4 tangos in tactical black. A man materialized beside Rook, tall, lean, with a spider web tattoo crawling up his neck and a face that belonged on wanted posters. Axel's eyes went where Rook indicated, and his whole body went still, in the way predators go still before they strike. I see them, they're positioned for a kill box. Get Snake Torch and Gunner. Civilian evac, quiet and calm, no panic. Get these families behind the main stage in the food trucks. Move them like we're just reorganizing for the raffle. On it. Axel was gone before the words finished leaving his mouth. Rook's attention came back to Leo. You did good, buddy, real good. Now I need you to stay with your mom and do exactly what the men in the leather vests tell you, okay? They're going to hurt you. Leo's voice came out small, almost lost in the noise of the party. I can feel it. They want to hurt you. Something softened in Rook's face. Yeah, they do, but they're not going to get the chance because you warned me. You understand? You just saved a lot of people. Leo, what on earth? His foster mother tried to step forward, but Rook stood moving between her and the pavilion in one smooth motion. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm and listen very carefully. In about 30 seconds, some of my men are going to ask you to move toward the stage area. I need you to do it, and I need you to do it quickly and quietly. Can you do that for me? I don't understand. You don't need to. You just need to trust me and move when they tell you to move. The woman's face went pale. She looked at Rook, then at Leo, then at the growing number of men in Iron Titans vests who were beginning to position themselves around the park with the kind of precision that spoke of military training. Is there danger? I'm handling it, but I need these civilians clear. Now. A man with a long beard and kind eyes appeared at the woman's elbow. Hey there, folks. We're just reorganizing the event space for the raffle drawing. If you'll follow me this way, we've got some great prizes lined up. The woman hesitated, but her hand found Leo's shoulder. Leo let himself be guided, but his eyes stayed locked on Rook. The big man gave him a small nod, a warrior's acknowledgement, and then turned to face the pavilion. Around them, the party continued. Music played, children laughed, parents chatted. Nobody knew, nobody saw, except Leo, and now Rook. Positions! Rook's voice carried to men who were already moving. They flowed through the crowd like water finding cracks in stone invisible to civilians, but perfectly visible to anyone who knew how to look. We've got maybe 2 minutes before they realize we're on to them. Torch, you're on the east flank. Snake, take west. Gunner, you're with me, center approach. Axel, overwatch from the stage platform. Copy that, the voices came back, crisp, professional. Rook's hand went to his belt, and Leo, being pulled toward the stage area, saw him lift his shirt just enough to check the weapon holstered there. Then his eyes swept the crowd one more time, counting heads, calculating trajectories, reading the space like a battlefield map. Because that's what it had become. In the pavilion, one of the men in black pulled out a phone, spoke into it, put it away, reached under his jacket. They're moving. Axel's voice, low and urgent, came from somewhere behind Rook. 30 seconds, maybe less. Civilians clear, almost. Still got a cluster by the bounce house. Get them out, now. Leo stumbled as his foster mother pulled him along, but he twisted to look back. Rook stood in the center of the park, hands loose at his sides, weight balanced on the balls of his feet. Waiting, around him, his men had melted into positions that looked casual, but formed a defensive perimeter that would have made a military tactician weep with appreciation. The little girl with the pigtails appeared next to Rook, tugging on his vest. Mr. Giant, are you going to pull the raffle tickets? Rook's jaw tightened. His eyes flicked to the pavilion, then down to the child. Yeah, princess. In just a minute. Why don't you go find your mom real quick? Okay, she skipped away, her bear bouncing under her arm. 10 feet to her left, a man in tactical black stepped out of the shadows. Everything slowed down. Leo saw the man's hand come up, saw the metal in it, saw the barrel start to track toward Rook's chest. He opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Rook moved. 1 second he was standing still, and the next he was in motion, a dive and roll that put the food truck between himself and the shooter, while his hand pulled the weapon from his belt in one smooth, practiced motion. The sound of the gunshot cracked across the park like a whip, and suddenly the music didn't matter. The laughter didn't matter. Nothing mattered except the fact that someone was trying to kill people at a charity event for foster children. Contact! Axel's shout cut through the confusion. Multiple shooters engaging. The second gunshot came from a different angle, then a third. Then the world erupted into chaos. Parents screamed, grabbing their children. People ran in every direction, their survival instincts overriding any sense of organization. But the Iron Titans didn't run. They moved forward toward the threat, returning fire with the kind of disciplined accuracy that spoke of countless hours on ranges and in combat zones. Leo's foster mother dragged him behind a thick oak tree, her hands shaking as she pulled out her phone. Around them, other families huddled, children crying, adults trying to shield them with their bodies. Stay down, stay down. A Titan with burn scars covering half his face, torch. Leo's brain supplied, appeared next to their tree, his own weapon drawn. Don't move, don't look, just stay small. Another shot, the crack of wood as a bullet buried itself in the tree trunk 3 feet above Leo's head. His foster mother made a sound that wasn't quite a scream, wasn't quite a seat. From the center of the park, Rook's voice rang out clear and commanding. Suppressing fire, push them back to the pavilion. Watch your backdrop, civilians in play. The Iron Titans moved like a machine, each man covering the other's advance. They didn't spray bullets wildly. Every shot was aimed deliberate, professional. They were Marine soldiers, men who'd learned their trade in the worst places on Earth, and they were applying those lessons here in a city park to protect families who didn't even know their names. One of the shooters went down clutching his shoulder. Another tried to flank around the bathrooms and ran straight into Snake, who put 2 rounds into the man's center mass without hesitation. 2 down, Snake called out. 2 still active. Leo pressed his hands over his ears, but he couldn't block out the sound. Bang, bang, bang. Each shot echoed in his chest, made his heart stutter, made the world feel like it was coming apart at the seams. A hand touched his shoulder, gentle, familiar. Rook dropped into a crouch beside the tree, his face splattered with something dark, his eyes fierce and bright. You okay, buddy? Leo nodded, couldn't make words work. I need you to stay right here, don't move. Don't run. Just stay with your mom, you understand? Another nod. Good boy. Rook's hand squeezed his shoulder once hard, and then he was gone, moving back into the fight. The third shooter made a break for the parking lot, firing as he ran. Gunner, a mountain of a man with a shaved head and a chest like a barrel, stepped out from behind a vendor booth and put him down with 3 precisely placed shots. 3 down, Gunner's voice boomed. Where's number 4? Lost visual, Akko called in from the stage. He went dark. Rook's head swiveled, scanning. He's rabbiting or repositioning. Torch check the tree line. Snake sweep the pavilion. Nobody gets out of this park. The shooting stopped. Sudden silence fell, broken only by crying children and whispered prayers. 30 seconds passed. A minute. Rook stood in the open weapon, Ray's eyes moving constantly. Clear, Torch called out. Clear, Snake echoed. Negative contact, Axel added. I think we got... The fourth shooter appeared behind the bouncy castle, his weapon leveled at a woman holding a toddler. Nobody moved. Everything froze. The shooter was young, maybe 25, with sweat running down his face and wild eyes that darted from person to person. His hands shook, making the gun barrel waver. I said nobody move, his voice cracked on the words. I'll shoot her, I'll do it. Rook lowered his weapon slowly, holding his other hand out in a placating gesture. Easy there, son, easy. Nobody needs to get hurt. Shut up, shut up. The shooter pressed the barrel against the woman's temple. She whimpered, clutching her child tighter. This wasn't supposed to happen. You were supposed to be alone, just you. Well, I'm here now. Rook took a step forward. Just one. So how about you let them go and we talk just you and me? Stay back. Can't do that, son. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to put that gun down or my men are going to put you down. Those are your only options. I'll kill her. No, you won't. Rook's voice went flat, emotionless. Because you know the second you pull that trigger, you're dead. My sniper on the stage has a bead on your left temple right now. You so much as twitch wrong, and your brains decorate that bouncy castle. Is that really how you want this to end? The shooter's eyes flicked up, found Axel positioned on the stage platform with a rifle. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed. The people who sent you, they don't care about you. Rook continued, still moving forward inches at a time. You're expendable, a tool, but you don't have to die today. You can walk away from this. They'll kill me. Maybe, but we'll kill you for sure if you hurt that woman. So what's it going to be? A long moment stretched out. The shooter's breathing came harsh and ragged. His finger tightened on the trigger. Leo couldn't watch, couldn't look away. I'm sorry, the shooter whispered. Then his hand started to move. 3 things happened simultaneously. Rook lunged forward faster than a man his size should move his hand, coming up to knock the gun aside. Axel's rifle cracked from the stage. The woman screamed and threw herself sideways, covering her child. The shooter went down, a red flower blooming on his shoulder where Axel's bullet had torn through muscle and bone. His weapon clattered to the ground. Rook kicked it away, then dropped his knees onto the man's chest, pinning him. Clear scene is clear, Rook's voice carried across the park, then softer to the shooter bleeding beneath him. You made the wrong choice, son, but you're alive. Remember that. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Parents emerged from behind trees and trucks, clutching their children, faces pale with shock. The Iron Titans began methodically clearing weapons, making them safe, preparing for the police response they all knew was coming. Torch appeared at Rook's side. Boss, we need to control the narrative before the cops get here. I know. Get everyone's stories straight. Self-defense, protection of civilians, minimal force used. By the book. Copy that. Rook stood, leaving the wounded shooter for Snake to secure, and his eyes swept the crowd until they found Leo still pressed against the oak tree, his foster mother's arms wrapped tight around him. Their eyes met across the chaos. Leo saw something in Rook's face then. Not relief, not victory, something deeper. Something that looked like recognition. Like when you see yourself in a mirror you didn't know was there. Rook started walking toward them, his steps heavy, his weapon holstered. People moved out of his way without being asked. Blood stained his vest, not his own, Leo somehow knew, and his knuckles were split open where they'd connected with something hard. Leo! His foster mother's voice was shrill with stress. Leo, we need to leave. We need to get out of here. Ma'am. Rook stopped in front of them, and up close he looked older, more tired. I need to talk to your boy. We're leaving, now. I don't think so. The woman's eyes went wide. Excuse me. Your son just saved approximately 40 lives, mine included. I'd like to thank him properly, if that's all right with you. She couldn't seem to find words that fit. Rook ignored her, dropping into a crouch in front of Leo. Hey, buddy, you did good today. Better than good. You saw something wrong, and even though it was hard, even though you knew nobody might listen, you found a way to warn me. That took guts. Leo's hands were still shaking. The bad men are done. They can't hurt anyone now. But there was so much noise, and the metal sounds, and I know it was scary, but you were brave. You understand, brave isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Something in Leo's chest loosened, not much, just enough to breathe. Can I ask you something? Rook's voice dropped, lower, intimate. How did you know? How did you spot them when nobody else did? Leo thought about that. They didn't fit. Everyone else was happy, moving happy. They moved like they were hunting. Rook's eyes narrowed. You've got good instincts, really good instincts. Where'd you learn to read people like that? I don't know, I just see things other people don't see. Yeah, Rook nodded slowly. I bet you do. The sirens were close now, maybe 2 blocks away. Rook stood, but his hand stayed on Leo's shoulder. I'm going to talk to the police in a minute, tell them what happened. But I want you to know something. You're a hero today, a real one. And if you ever need anything at all, you come find me. Okay. We're leaving. Leo's foster mother found her voice again, her hand tight on Leo's arm. Come on, Leo, we're going home. But Leo pulled back, looking up at Rook. Will you be okay? Something shifted in Rook's expression, softened. Yeah, buddy, I'll be okay. Thanks to you. The first police car screamed into the parking lot, followed by 3 more. Officers poured out weapons drawn, shouting commands. Rook raised his hands slowly, made himself visible, non-threatening. Rook Donovan, Iron Titans MC. We have 4 shooters down, 1 in custody, multiple weapons secured. We are not a threat. The officers approached cautiously, their training warring with the bizarre scene in front of them. A biker gang standing over dead bodies at a children's charity event. But they knew Rook. Most of the force knew the Iron Titans. The club had done more for this city's veterans and foster kids than any government program. A detective Leo recognized from TV news stepped forward, his face grim. Rook, want to tell me what the hell happened here? Cartel hit squad. They came for me. Kid spotted them first, gave us warning. We engaged to protect civilians. The detective's eyes swept the scene, taking in the tactical positions, the professional, spacing the careful shot placement. Jesus Christ, how many civilians hit 0? 0. We moved them first, then engaged. By the book, Frank, all of it. The detective Frank shook his head slowly. We're going to need statements from everyone. This is going to be a long night. I know. My men are ready. As the police began securing the scene, Leo watched Rook coordinate with them, his voice calm, his explanations clear. The man moved between worlds, criminal and law enforcement, civilian and soldier, with an ease that spoke of practice. Leo's foster mother tried again to lead him away, but he resisted, watching Rook until the big man glanced back one more time. Their eyes met. Rook smiled, just a small quirk of his lips, and touched 2 fingers to his forehead in a casual salute. Then he turned back to the detective in the nightmare of paperwork and investigation that was about to consume his night. But Leo knew something his foster mother didn't. This wasn't over. This was just beginning. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and old fear. Leo sat in a plastic chair that was too big for him, his feet dangling 6 inches off the floor, watching officers move back and forth like ants in a disturbed hill. His foster mother, Sharon. Her name was Sharon, though he always forgot until someone said it, perched beside him, her knee bouncing so hard it made the whole row of chairs vibrate. This is ridiculous, Sharon muttered for the 8th time. Keeping a child here for hours, it's not right. You didn't do anything wrong, Leo. But Leo had stopped listening to her 3 hours ago. His attention was fixed on the interrogation room door, where Rook had disappeared with Detective Frank and 2 other men in suits who looked like they ate nails for breakfast. Ms. Patterson, a female officer, approached her, smile professional but tired. We just need a few more minutes. The detective wants to verify the timeline. It's been 4 hours. I understand, ma'am. We're moving as quickly as we can. Sharon's hand found Leo's shoulder squeezed too tight. Come on, Leo, we're leaving. Ma'am, I really need you to... Are we under arrest? The officer blinked. No, of course not. Then we're leaving. My son has been through enough trauma for one day. Leo's stomach twisted. He didn't want to leave. Couldn't explain why, but the thought of walking out of this building before seeing Rook again made something inside him feel wrong, like missing a step on stairs you couldn't see. No. The word came out of his mouth before he could stop it. Sharon's head whipped toward him. What did you say? No, I want to stay. Leo, we're going home. He's not done talking. Mr. Rook, he's not done. Sharon's face did something complicated. Honey, Mr. Rook is in serious trouble. He killed people. He's not... We need to leave. He saved people. Leo's voice came out louder than he meant it to. Several officers turned to look. He saved everyone. Because I told him. He listened when nobody else listened. The interrogation room door opened. Rook emerged, his face drawn dark circles under his eyes that hadn't been there before. The suits followed him, out, their expressions unreadable. Detective Frank brought up the rear, looking like he'd aged 10 years. Rook's eyes found Leo immediately. Something passed between them, some kind of understanding that didn't need words. We're done here, Frank said, his voice heavy. For now, don't leave town, Rook. Wasn't planning on it. And get yourself a lawyer, a good one. The DA is going to want to make an example out of this. I know. Sharon stood up, pulling Leo with her. We're leaving. Now. But Rook was already walking toward them, his boots heavy on the linoleum. Miss Patterson, can I have a word? No, no, you cannot. We're done with this circus. It's about Leo. What about Leo? Rook glanced at the officer still hovering nearby, then back at Sharon. Somewhere private, maybe. Sharon's jaw tightened, but she nodded. They followed Rook to a small conference room that smelled like microwave fish and broken dreams. The door clicked shut behind them. Rook didn't sit. He stood with his back to the wall, arms crossed, looking at Leo with an intensity that should have been frightening but somehow wasn't. Your boy saved my life today, Rook said. Saved a lot of lives. I want to make sure he's okay. He's fine. We're fine. We just want to go home and forget this ever happened. Are you, though, fine? Rook's eyes never left Leo's face. Kid's been through something most adults couldn't handle. He witnessed a firefight, heard people die. That leaves marks. We'll manage. Will you? Because I'm looking at him right now and I'm seeing a kid who's holding himself together with duct tape and prayers. I've seen that look before, on men twice my age after combat. Sharon's voice went sharp. Are you questioning my ability to care for him? I'm questioning whether you understand what he needs. Rook finally looked at Sharon and his expression was carefully neutral. No disrespect, ma'am, but this boy just experienced combat trauma. Real trauma, and he's going to need help processing it. We have therapists, resources. Yeah. How many of those therapists have treated 8-year-olds with autism who watched a cartel hit squad get taken down? How many of them can speak his language? Sharon opened her mouth, closed it. Leo watched them talk about him like he wasn't there. Story of his life. People always talked about him around him, never to him. But Rook kept glancing over, like checking to make sure Leo was still paying attention, like Leo's opinion mattered. What do you want? Sharon asked finally. I want to help. My club runs a program for foster kids. We've got resources, connections, people who understand trauma. Let me set him up with someone who can actually help. Your club, Sharon's laugh was bitter. A motorcycle gang. We prefer a club. And yeah, we're rough around the edges, but we take care of our own. And whether you like it or not, Leo's one of ours now. He stood up when it mattered. That counts for something in our world. He's 8 years old. I know how old he is. I also know he's been through 6 foster homes in 2 years. I know he doesn't talk much, doesn't make friends, easy, doesn't fit into the nice, neat boxes people want to put him in. Sound about right? Sharon's face went pale. How do you? I asked around, made some calls. I wanted to know who I was dealing with. Rook's voice softened. Look, I'm not trying to step on your toes. I'm sure you're doing your best. But that kid needs more than best right now. He needs someone who gets it. Leo's hands started flapping at his sides. Too much, too many words, too much tension in the air, too much everything. But underneath it all, something warm was spreading in his chest. Someone was fighting for him. Actually fighting, not just going through the motions. I need to think about this, Sharon said. Fair enough. But while you're thinking, keep an eye on him. Watch for nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety spikes. If he starts stimming more than usual, if he stops eating, if he goes nonverbal for extended periods, those are warning signs. I know what warning signs look like. Do you? Rook's question hung in the air. Because I'm looking at him right now, and I can see he's already starting to dissociate. His eyes are going flat. His breathing's getting shallow. That's shock setting in, and if you don't snap him out of it soon, he's going to crash hard. Sharon looked at Leo, really looked, and something in her face changed. Leo, honey. Leo heard her voice like it was coming through water. His vision had started to tunnel again, the edges going gray and fuzzy. His hands wouldn't stop moving, and his chest felt too tight, like someone had wrapped rubber bands around his ribs. Hey! Rook's voice cut through the fog. He dropped into a crouch in front of Leo, putting himself at eye level. Leo, look at me. Come on, buddy. Eyes right here. Leo's gaze found Rook's face, focused on the scar that ran through his left eyebrow. One thing, just one thing to hold on to. There you go. Now breathe with me. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Can you do that? Leo tried. His lungs didn't want to cooperate, but he forced them. In, hold, out. Good. Again. You're doing great. In, hold, out. One more time. In, hold, out. The gray edges receded. The room came back into focus. Leo's hands slowed, stopped their frantic movement. Better, Rook asked. Leo nodded. Okay, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to hear me. Really hear me. You ready? Another nod. What happened today was not your fault. You didn't cause it. You didn't make those men show up. All you did was see danger and report it. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. And because you did that, because you were brave enough to speak up, even when it was hard, 43 people went home to their families tonight. You understand what I'm saying? Leo's voice cracked. I saw them die. The bad men. I know. And that's going to be hard to carry. But here's what you need to remember. Those men came to hurt people. They came to kill. We stopped them. Sometimes stopping bad people means bad people get hurt. That's not pretty and it's not easy, but it's necessary. You with me so far? Yes. Good. Now you're going to have some rough nights ahead. You're going to hear those gunshots in your sleep. You're going to see their faces. That's normal. That's your brain trying to process something it was never meant to process. But it will get better. I promise you that. It will get better. Sharon made a sound, half sob, half laugh. You're good at this. Had practice. Rook stood his knees cracking. Lost count of how many young Marines I talked down from panic attacks. Comes with the territory. The Iron Titans, Sharon said slowly. You're all veterans. Most of us, different branches, different wars, same scars. Rook pulled a card from his wallet, handed it to Sharon. That's my personal number. Day or night he needs to talk, you call me. No questions asked. I can't just... Yes, you can. Look, I don't know what your situation is, what brought you into foster care work, why you took Leo on. Don't really matter. What matters is that boy right there. He's special. Not in the way people usually mean when they're being condescending about autism. Actually special. He's got instincts I've only seen in people who've been trained to survive. Question is, what are you going to do with that? The door opened. Detective Frank stuck his head in. Rook, your lawyer's here. And the DA. Perfect timing. Rook looked back at Leo one more time. Remember what I said, buddy. You're a hero. Don't let anyone tell you different. Then he was gone, the door closing behind him with a soft click that sounded final. Sharon stared at the card in her hand for a long moment. Then she looked at Leo. Did you mean it when you said you wanted to stay? Leo nodded. Why? He listens. When I talk, he listens like the words matter. Sharon's eyes got bright and wet. Oh, honey. They sat in silence for a while. Outside the conference room, voices rose and fell. Phones rang, the machinery of justice ground forward. But in this small room, it was just the two of them, a foster mother and a foster son, trying to figure out what came next. Finally, Sharon stood. Come on, let's go home. This time, Leo didn't argue, but he held on to Rook's card. Sharon had given it to him without being asked, like a talisman against the dark. The ride home took 20 minutes. Sharon tried to make conversation, asking if he was hungry, if he wanted to stop for ice cream, if he needed anything. Leo gave one-word answers, his attention on the city sliding past his window. Everything looked different now, sharper, more dangerous, like someone had removed a filter he hadn't known was there. Their house was small, a rental in a neighborhood that was trying hard to be nice, but couldn't quite manage it. Sharon pulled into the driveway, killed the engine, and just sat there. I don't know what I'm doing, she said finally. With any of this. I thought it would be different. Easier maybe. But nothing about this is easy. Leo didn't respond, didn't know how. You're my third placement. Did you know that first was a girl 10 years old so angry at the world she tried to burn my kitchen down? Second was twin boys who stole my car and drove it into a lake. Sharon laughed, but it didn't sound happy. And then there's you. Quiet, smart, so careful about everything. I thought you'd be the easy one. I'm not easy, Leo said. No, you're not. But maybe that's okay. Maybe easy isn't what either of us needs right now. She got out of the car. Leo followed. Inside, the house smelled like the vanilla candles Sharon burned constantly, trying to cover up the scent of the previous tenant's dogs. Leo went straight to his room, small, barely big enough for a bed and dresser, but his, and closed the door. He lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. The ceiling had 47 bumps in the texture. He'd counted them the first night he'd arrived, something to focus on when everything else was too much. His hands started to shake, then his whole body. The sounds came rushing back, crack, 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 of gunfire, screams, the wet thump of bodies hitting ground. He pressed his palms over his ears, but it didn't help. The sounds were inside him now. He must have made noise because Sharon knocked on his door. "Leo, can I come in?" "No." A pause. "Okay, I'm right outside if you need me." He didn't need her, didn't need anyone, except his body kept shaking and his breath kept coming in short gasps that didn't fill his lungs, and the room kept spinning, even though he was lying still. His hand found Rook's card in his pocket. He pulled it out, stared at the numbers. Day or night, Rook had said. No questions asked. Leo reached for his phone, a basic model Sharon had given him for emergencies, and dialed before he could talk himself out of it. 2 rings. 3. "Yeah," Rook's voice rough with exhaustion. "It's Leo." A pause, then gentler. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" "No." "What's going on?" I can't make it stop. The sounds, the seeing, it won't stop." Okay, that's normal. I know it doesn't feel normal, but it is. Where are you right now?" "My room, on my bed." "Sharon nearby?" "Outside the door." "Good, that's good. Now I want you to do something for me. You got a favorite thing in that room? Something that makes you feel safe." Leo looked around. His eyes landed on a model airplane he'd built from a kit sitting on his dresser. Airplane, P-51 Mustang. "Nice choice. Those are beautiful planes. I want you to pick it up, hold it, and tell me everything you know about it, every detail. Start with when it was made. 1944, built by North American Aviation. Top speed 437 miles per hour. Range 1,650 miles with external tanks. Keep going. Rolled rate 100 degrees per second. Service ceiling 41,900 feet. 6.50 caliber machine guns, 3 per wing. Used primarily for bomber escort missions over Europe. What else? And Leo talked. He talked about the Merlin engine, the distinctive sound it made, the paint schemes used by different squadrons. He talked about famous pilots who flew them, about combat records, about the physics of how the laminar flow wing reduced drag. He talked until his hands stopped shaking, until his breathing evened out, until the room stopped spinning. "You still with me?" Rook asked. "Yeah." "How are you feeling?" "Better, a little better." "Good. That's real good, Leo. You just used a grounding technique. When your brain goes into panic mode, you give it something concrete to focus on. Something you know cold. It interrupts the fear response." "How do you know that?" "Had to learn it myself after my second deployment. Spent 6 months having panic attacks every time a car backfired. My therapist taught me the technique. Saved my life more than once." Leo processed that. "You were scared like me." "Yeah, buddy, just like you. Being tough doesn't mean you're not scared. It just means you learn how to manage the scared so it doesn't manage you." "Will it always be like this?" Rook was quiet for a moment. "It'll get easier. Not better maybe, but easier. You'll learn your triggers, develop coping strategies, build up your resilience. And some days will be harder than others, but you won't always feel like you're drowning. I promise you that." "Okay, you should try to sleep. Long day." "I don't want to sleep. I'll dream about it." "Probably, but your body needs rest. Tell you what, you leave your phone on, put it next to your pillow. If the dreams get too bad, you call me. I'll be up anyway. Got my own demons to wrestle tonight." "Okay." "Hey, Leo." "Yeah." "You did real good today. I meant what I said earlier. You're a hero. Sleep on that, okay?" The line went dead. Leo set his phone on the pillow next to his head, just like Rook had said. The room felt less empty, knowing help was just a phone call away. He closed his eyes, tried not to think about tomorrow, about statements he'd have to give, about reporters who'd want to talk to him, about the way people would look at him now. The boy who saved the Iron Titans. The boy who saw death up close. Sleep came in fits and starts. And yeah, the dreams came too. But every time he jerked awake gasping, his hand found the phone, found proof that he wasn't alone in the dark. Morning arrived cold and gray. Sharon made pancakes which sat untouched on Leo's plate while she drank coffee and scrolled through her phone with increasingly horrified expressions. "It's everywhere," she muttered. "Every news site, every social media platform. Child hero saves charity event. 8-year-old spots cartel hit squad. Jesus Christ, they have your name, Leo. They have your picture. Leo's stomach dropped. How? Someone at the park must have talked to reporters. Or maybe police records leaked. Does it matter? She set her phone down too hard, coffee sloshing over the rim of her mug. This is a nightmare, absolute nightmare. The doorbell rang. Sharon froze. Don't answer that. It rang again. Then someone knocked. Then a voice called out, Ms. Patterson, this is Angela Chen with Channel 7 News. We'd just like to ask a few questions about yesterday's incident. Go to your room, Sharon hissed. Now. Leo went, but he left his door cracked, listening. Sharon opened the front door. I have nothing to say. Please leave. Just a few questions about Leo's heroism. He's a child, he's traumatized, and he's not giving interviews. The public has a right to know. The public has a right to leave us alone. Sharon's voice went hard. You're on private property. Leave or I'm calling the police. The door slammed. Sharon leaned against it, breathing hard. The phone rang. Sharon looked at it like it was a snake. It rang 4 more times before she finally answered. What? No, he's not available. No comment. No comment. For God's sake, he's 8 years old. She hung up. The phone immediately started ringing again. Leo came out of his room. They're not going to stop, are they? Sharon looked at him, and for the first time since he'd arrived, he saw real fear in her eyes. No, I don't think they are. What do we do? I don't know. Leo pulled out Rook's card, held it up. He would know. Leo, we can't just call a biker gang every time. Why not? He said to call, day or night, he said. Sharon stared at the card, at Leo, back at the card. The doorbell rang again, followed by more knocking. Miss Patterson, just one statement. Sharon grabbed the card from Leo's hand and dialed. Rook answered on the first ring. Yeah, this is Sharon Patterson, Leo's foster mother. We have a problem. Reporters. How did you been dealing with them all morning? What do you need? They won't leave. They're camped outside my house. They keep calling. I don't know how to make them stop. Give me your address. Sharon rattled it off. Sit tight. I'm on my way. 20 minutes later, the sound of motorcycles rumbled up the street. Leo looked out the window to see 6 bikes pull up to the curb, Rook in the lead. The Iron Titans dismounted in formation, moving like soldiers, and suddenly, the reporters didn't look so aggressive anymore. Rook walked up to the cluster of media vans and cameras. He didn't raise his voice, didn't threaten, just spoke in that flat, calm tone that somehow carried more weight than shouting. This is a private residence. You're harassing a traumatized child. You've got 30 seconds to pack up and leave before I start making calls to your editors about predatory journalism practices. Mr. Donovan, the public has a right. The public has a right to facts, not trauma porn. Now move. Clock's ticking. Something in his voice, or maybe the 5 large men standing behind him convinced them. The reporters packed up faster than Leo would have thought possible. Within 5 minutes, the street was clear. Rook knocked on the door. Sharon opened it, looking stunned. They're gone, Rook said, but they'll be back. Different ones, same questions. You need to lawyer up, get ahead of this. I can't afford a lawyer. I can. Consider it payment for what Leo did. Rook glanced past her, found Leo watching from the hallway. How you doing, Boti? Okay, better now. Good. Rook looked back at Sharon. We need to talk about Leo's future, about what comes next, but not here, not now. You got somewhere you can go for a few days, somewhere quiet. My sister has a cabin upstate. Perfect. Pack bags for both of you. My guys will escort you, make sure no one follows. I can't just uproot. You want Leo safe, or you want him to become the media's new obsession? Because those are your choices. Sharon's jaw tightened, but she nodded. Give me 20 minutes. While Sharon packed, Rook sat with Leo in the living room. Neither spoke for a while. Outside, the other Titans stood guard, making sure no enterprising reporter tried to sneak back. You called me last night, Rook said finally. Yeah, that was brave. Asking for help when you need it, that's one of the hardest things to learn. You said I could. I did, and I meant it. But not everyone would have taken me up on it. Most people, they'd rather suffer alone than admit they're struggling. Leo thought about that. Are you struggling? You said you had demons to wrestle. Rook's smile was grim. Every night, buddy. Every single night. Yesterday just added a few more to the pile. Does it help talking about it? Sometimes. Sometimes it just helps knowing someone else gets it. That you're not crazy, you're not broken, you're just carrying weight. Sharon emerged with two hastily packed bags. Okay, we're ready. Rook stood. Axel will lead, Snake will take rear guard. Drive normal, don't speed, follow their lead. They'll get you there safe. When do we come back? When it's safe, I'll handle the media circus, talk to some people, get the heat turned down. Few days, maybe a week. Sharon nodded. She looked at Leo. Get your jacket, honey. Leo grabbed his jacket and his model airplane. Couldn't say why, but he needed it with him. When he came back, Rook was at the door talking quietly with Sharon. Not trying to replace you, Rook was saying. Just trying to help. Kid needs stability right now, needs to know someone's looking out for him. I am looking out for him. I know. But you're in over your head and there's no shame in admitting it. Let me help. That's all I'm asking. Sharon's shoulders sagged. Okay, fine. But this doesn't mean we're not. I know, one day at a time. They walked out to find Axel and Snake already on their bikes' engines idling. Sharon's car looked tiny and fragile between the motorcycles. Rook knelt in front of Leo one more time. You be good for Sharon, okay? Do what she tells you. Try to relax a little. And if you need to talk, you call. Anytime. You promise you'll answer? On my life. Leo hugged him, just wrapped his arms around Rook's neck and held on tight. He felt Rook go still with surprise, then carefully, gently hug him back. Thank you, Leo whispered. Nothing to thank me for, buddy. You saved me first. They pulled apart. Leo climbed into Sharon's car. As they pulled away from the curb flanked by motorcycles, Leo watched Rook standing in the driveway, getting smaller in the rearview mirror, but somehow still feeling close. The cabin sat 3 hours north of the city, surrounded by pine trees that whispered secrets Leo couldn't understand. Sharon parked the car and just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel, like it was the only solid thing left in the world. Well, she said finally, here we are. Leo climbed out his shoes, crunching on gravel. Axel and Snake pulled up behind them, killed their engines. The silence that followed felt too big, too empty. Axel dismounted first, his spiderweb tattoo catching afternoon light. We'll do a perimeter check, make sure nobody followed. Snake, take the north side. Copy. Sharon fumbled with keys, managed to get the door open on the third try. Inside smelled like cedar and dust and memories that belonged to someone else. She flipped light switches, started opening windows. My sister hasn't been up here in months, Sharon said, her voice too bright. But it's clean, mostly. There's 2 bedrooms upstairs, bathroom down the hall, kitchen small but functional. Leo stood in the doorway, not quite inside, not quite outside, alone. His model airplane felt heavy in his hands. Axel appeared at his elbow. You gonna be okay up here, kid? Leo nodded. Good. We're heading back, but Torch is gonna swing by tomorrow, check on you. You need anything before we go? No. Axel studied him for a moment, then pulled something from his pocket. A small stone, smooth and black, no bigger than a quarter. My daughter gave me this. Said it was for protection. Sounds like kid nonsense, right? But I've carried it through 3 deployments in 16 bar fights. Never got more than a scratch. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Either way, you hold on to it for me until we see you again. Leo took the stone. It was warm from Axel's pocket, worn smooth by worried fingers. What if something happens to it? Then it did, it screamed. Axel's hand landed on Leo's shoulder, squeezed once. Take care of yourself, Leo, and take care of Sharon. She's trying real hard, even if it doesn't always show. Then he was gone, motorcycle roaring to life. Snake followed. Their engines faded into distance, and suddenly the silence was absolute. Sharon closed the door, locked it, checked it twice. I'm going to make some tea, she said. You want anything? No. Okay, well, your room is upstairs, first door on the right. I'll call down when dinner's ready. Leo climbed stairs that creaked under his weight. The room Sharon had indicated was small, with a twin bed covered in a quilt that looked handmade. He set his airplane on the nightstand, put Axel's stone next to it. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Rook. Different phone, harder to trace. You settled in okay? Leo typed back, yes. Good. Sharon treating you right? She's scared. Yeah, she should be. Media's still circling, but we're handling it. Leo wanted to ask House wanted to know what handling it meant, but his thumbs felt clumsy on the keys. Instead, he wrote, "Thank you. Nothing to thank me for, buddy. Get some rest. Tomorrow's a new day." But tomorrow came too fast and brought problems Leo hadn't anticipated. He woke to shouting downstairs, Sharon's voice high and angry. "I don't care what you think you're entitled to. No, you cannot speak with him. He's a minor. He's traumatized, and you're not." "What? How did you get this number?" Leo crept to the top of the stairs listening. "This is harassment. I'm documenting every call. No, absolutely not. We're not interested in book deals, movie rights, or exclusive interviews." She slammed the phone down, picked it up again immediately when it rang. "What? Oh God. I'm sorry. I thought you were—" "Yes, this is Sharon Patterson." "Wait, what? No, that's not. We never agreed to—" Her voice went thin, fragile. "I don't understand. Leo's caseworker said this placement was stable. Long-term. Why would—" Leo's stomach dropped. 48 hours. You can't just— He's been through enough. Moving him again. Will I see? Yes, I understand. No, Okay, fine. The phone clattered into its cradle. Sharon made a sound like a wounded animal. When Leo came down the stairs, she was sitting at the kitchen table, her face in her hands. "They're taking you," she said without looking up. "Child services. They think the media attention makes this placement unsuitable. Too much disruption, too much risk. They're moving you to a group home. Day after tomorrow, they're sending someone to pick you up." Leo sat down across from her. His hands found the edge of the table gripped hard. "I don't want to go. I know. I don't want you to go either, but I don't have a choice. I'm just emergency foster, not permanent. They can pull you anytime they think it's necessary." "It's not necessary. We're safe here. Nobody knows where we are. For now, but we can't hide forever. And when we go back," Sharon's voice broke, "I can't protect you from this, Leo. I can barely protect myself." Leo pulled out his phone, dialed Rook. "Talk to me," Rook answered. "They're taking me away. Child services. 2 days." Silence on the other end. Then put Sharon on. Leo handed over the phone. Sharon took it like it might bite her. "Hello. Yes, this is what? No, I don't think that's Mr. Donovan. I appreciate everything you've done, but you can't just— That's not how the system I know, but—" She listened for a long time. Her face went through several complicated expressions. "That's insane," she said finally. "You barely know him. The state would never— What do you mean you have a lawyer, a good one? How good? More listening." Her eyebrows climbed higher. "Former family court judge, that seems convenient. Almost too convenient. How do you just happen to— Oh, I see. So you've been planning this whole time?" Sharon looked at Leo, really looked at him like seeing him for the first time. "He wants to foster you," she said. "Rook, he's filing emergency custody papers. Says he can have them processed by end of day tomorrow." Leo's heart did something strange in his chest. He can do that. His lawyer seems to think so. Apparently there's precedent for placement with non-traditional families when traditional options are failing. And given your connection to him, the trauma bond formed during the incident— Sharon stopped, shook her head. "I can't believe I'm even considering this." "Are you?" Leo asked. "Considering it." Sharon set the phone down, speaker on. Rook's voice filled the kitchen. "Sharon, I know this sounds crazy. I know you don't trust me, don't have any reason to, but that kid saved my life. More than that, he deserves better than getting shuffled around the system like a piece of furniture nobody wants. I can give him stability, structure, a family that understands what he's been through." "A family of bikers," Sharon said. "A family of veterans, men who know trauma, who know how to help each other through it. Men who've already accepted him as one of their own. He's 8 years old. I know how old he is. I also know he's brilliant, observant, brave as hell, and completely alone in the world except for a foster system that keeps failing him. How many more homes, Sharon? How many more times does he get moved before something in him breaks permanently?" Sharon's hands were shaking. "This is insane. Completely insane." "Maybe, but sometimes insane is exactly what's needed. Yes or no, Sharon? I need an answer. Because if we're doing this, we need to move fast." Leo held his breath, watched Sharon's face work through the decision. "Why?" she asked finally. "Why do you care this much? You don't owe him anything. He warned you, you thanked him. That should be the end of it." Should be, Rook agreed, but it's not. You want the truth. I see myself in that kid. Not the autism, not the specifics, but the feeling. Like you don't fit anywhere, like everyone's speaking a language you can't quite understand, like the world's too sharp and too loud and too much. I spent years feeling that way after I came home from Afghanistan. Took me a long time to find people who got it. Leo doesn't have years. He needs someone who gets it now. And you think you're that someone. I think I'm the best option currently on the table. But this isn't about what I think. It's about what Leo needs. So ask him. Ask him what he wants. Sharon looked at Leo. Well, Leo's throat felt tight. I want to stay with you. But if I can, if they're taking me anyway, you want to go with Rook? Yes. Sharon closed her eyes, breathed out slow. Okay, fine, do it. File your papers. But if this goes wrong, if he gets hurt or scared or... He won't, Rook said. You have my word. Your word, right, because that means so much from a man I met 2 days ago during a shootout. Fair point. How about this instead? You'll have my address, phone number, access to him anytime you want. You can check on him, call him, visit. This isn't me taking him away from you. It's me giving him a safe place to land while you figure out your own situation. My situation. Sharon, they're pulling your foster license. That's why they're moving Leo. One of the reporters dug up your history, found out about the first 2 placements, how they ended. It's going to be in tomorrow's news cycle. Sharon went pale. How do you know that? I have friends in low places. Point is, you're about to have your own media circus. You can't protect Leo from that. But I can, by hiding him with a motorcycle club, by giving him a family that knows how to handle external pressure. We've been dealing with cops, feds, and reporters for 20 years. We know how to keep our people safe. Sharon pressed her palms against her eyes. I can't believe this is happening. Any of this. Life comes at you fast sometimes, Rook said. What's it gonna be? Do it. File your papers, but I want updates, daily, and I want to talk to him whenever he wants to talk to me. Done. I'll have my lawyer contact you within the hour to coordinate. Leo, you still there? Yes, Leo managed. Pack your things, buddy. You're coming home. The line went dead. Sharon and Leo sat in silence, the weight of the decision settling over them like snow. I'm sorry, Sharon said finally. I tried. I really tried. I know. It's not that I don't care about you. I do, but this whole thing, it's too big. I'm not equipped to handle it. Nobody is, Leo said. That's why it's scary. Sharon laughed, but it came out broken. When did you get so wise? I'm not wise. I just see things. Yeah, you do. Too much, maybe. She started pulling food from the refrigerator without seeming to notice what she was grabbing. We should eat something. I can't remember the last time either of us had a real meal. They ate sandwiches that tasted like cardboard sitting across from each other at a table that belonged to someone else in a cabin that was supposed to be a refuge, but felt more like a waiting room. Leo's phone buzzed twice, once with a text from Rook saying the papers were filed, once with a text from Axel containing only a thumbs-up emoji. Night fell. Sharon retreated to her room. Leo lay in bed staring at ceiling beams. He couldn't count because shadows kept shifting them. His brain wouldn't shut off. Kept cycling through scenarios, possibilities, outcomes. Tomorrow would bring lawyers and paperwork and decisions made by adults who thought they knew what was best. But none of them knew Leo. Not really, except maybe Rook. Sleep finally came around 3 a.m, thin and unsatisfying. He woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. Sharon was already up, dressed, her packed suitcase by the door. Rook's lawyer called, she said. Emergency hearing is at 2 this afternoon. Judge is willing to see us on short notice given the circumstances. We need to be back in the city by 1. Okay. Leo, I need you to understand something. This might not work. Judges don't usually place kids with single men who have criminal records and run motorcycle clubs. The odds are they're not good. But there's a chance. A small one, very small. Better than no chance. Sharon's smile was sad. Yeah, I guess it is. They drove back through morning light, the city growing on the horizon like a promise or a threat. Sharon's hands were tight on the wheel, her jaw clenched. Leo watched the world slide past and tried not to think about group homes, about sharing rooms with strangers, about starting over again in a place where nobody knew him. The courthouse was downtown, all marble, in intimidation. Rook waited on the steps, flanked by a woman in a suit that probably cost more than Sharon's car. She was 50-ish with iron gray hair and eyes that looked like they'd seen everything twice. Sharon Patterson. The woman extended her hand. I'm Margaret Chen, Mr. Donovan's attorney. Thank you for coming. Like I had a choice. You always have a choice, but I'm glad you chose this one. Margaret looked down at Leo. And you must be the young man everyone's talking about. It's nice to meet you, Leo. I've heard impressive things. Leo didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. We should head inside, Margaret said. Judge Morrison is punctual to a fault. Being late is not an option. The courtroom was smaller than Leo expected, more like an office than the grand chambers he'd seen on TV. Judge Morrison sat behind a desk piled with files, her reading glasses perched on the end of her nose. She was black, probably 60, with an expression that suggested she'd heard every excuse in the book and believed none of them. Miss Chen, the judge said without looking up, I hope you have a very good reason for requesting an emergency hearing on a case that was filed. She checked her watch 17 hours ago. I do, Your Honor. Time is of the essence. Child Protective Services intends to move Leo Patterson to a group home placement tomorrow morning. We're asking the court to prevent that move and grant emergency custody to Mr. Donovan. Judge Morrison finally looked up. Her eyes found Rook traveled over his leather vest, his tattoos, his scars. Mr. Donovan, are you the same Rook Donovan who was involved in the shooting incident at Lincoln Park 2 days ago? Yes, ma'am. The same Rook Donovan who is president of the Iron Titans Motorcycle Club? Yes, ma'am. The same Rook Donovan who has 3 arrests on his record, 2 for assault and 1 for weapons possession. Margaret stood. Your Honor, all charges were dropped or dismissed. Mr. Donovan has no convictions. Dropped charges aren't the same as innocence, Ms. Chen. They just mean the DA decided not to prosecute. Judge Morrison turned her attention to Leo. Young man, do you know why you're here? Leo nodded. I need verbal responses for the record, please. Yes, I know why I'm here. And do you understand what emergency custody means? It means Rook would be responsible for me, like a foster parent. That's correct. How do you feel about that? Leo glanced at Sharon, who gave him a tiny nod. Permission to tell the truth. I want it, Leo said. I want to stay with him. Why? Because he listens. When I talk, he listens like the words matter. And he's not scared of me. Scared of you? Why would anyone be scared of you? Leo's hands started to flutter. I'm different. I see things other people don't see. I say things wrong. I don't fit right. Most people get uncomfortable. They smile, but their eyes don't smile. They say nice things, but they want me to be somewhere else. Rook doesn't do that. He just treats me like I'm normal, like I matter. Judge Morrison was quiet for a moment. Ms. Patterson, you're Leo's current foster placement. What's your position on this? Sharon stood, her voice shaky. I love Leo, I do, but I can't give him what he needs. The media attention, the threats, the constant disruption, it's too much for me to handle. And honestly, Your Honor, I've failed 2 placements before Leo. The system is pulling my license. I'm not equipped for a child with his needs, especially not given the circumstances. So you support this placement. I support whatever keeps Leo safe and stable. If Mr. Donovan can provide that, then yes, I support it. Ms. Chen, let me be frank. Your client runs a motorcycle club with known criminal affiliations. He lives above a bar. He owns multiple firearms. He was involved in a shootout 48 hours ago that left 4 men dead. And you want me to place an 8-year-old autistic child in his care? Margaret didn't flinch. I want you to look at the facts, Your Honor. Mr. Donovan is a decorated Marine with 2 Purple Hearts and a Silver Star. He's completed extensive trauma counseling and anger management. He's been running a successful foster youth program through his club for 6 years with a 92% success rate. He owns his property outright, has steady income, and has already passed a preliminary background check. As for the shooting, he acted in defense of civilians. The police have recommended no charges. He's a hero, not a criminal. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, Ms. Chen. Agreed, but it's also true that unconventional placements sometimes work when traditional ones fail. Leo has been through 6 foster homes in 2 years. 6. Each one started with good intentions and ended in failure. At what point do we try something different? Judge Morrison leaned back in her chair. Mr. Donovan, I'm going to ask you some questions and I expect honest answers. Are you currently involved in any illegal activities? No, ma'am. Has your club engaged in illegal activities? Rook hesitated. Individual members have made poor choices in the past. The club as a whole operates within the law. That's a careful answer. It's an honest one. I can't control what every member does in their private time. But club business is clean. We run charity events, veteran support programs, and community outreach. We're not dealing drugs or running guns, if that's what you're asking. Do you drink socially? Never to excess. Do you have a temper? I did, worked on it, got it under control. How? Therapy, medication for a while until I didn't need it anymore. Learned my triggers, developed coping mechanisms, built a support system. I'm not perfect, ma'am, but I'm functional, and I'm stable. Judge Morrison turned to Leo again. Leo, if I allow this placement, you'd be living with Mr. Donovan and potentially interacting with other members of his club. Does that concern you? No. Why not? They're good men. Scary looking maybe, but good. They protected everyone at the park. Nobody got hurt except the bad guys. What about school friends, normal childhood activities? I don't have friends. School is hard because people stare and whisper. Normal childhood activities make me anxious because there's too much noise and too many people. Being with Rook, it feels less hard, like I can breathe better. The judge studied him for a long moment. Then she sighed, pulled off her glasses, rubbed her eyes. This is highly irregular, she said. Ms. Chen, I assume you have character references. 12 letters, Your Honor, including one from Police Chief Davidson, one from Congressman Riley, and one from Father Matthews at St. Mary's Church. A congressman and a police chief vouching for a biker. Now I've seen everything. But Judge Morrison took the letters, read through them carefully. Her expression gave nothing away. Finally, she set the paper down. I'm going to allow this, provisionally. Emergency custody granted to Mr. Donovan for 90 days subject to weekly check-ins with Child Protective Services and monthly review hearings. One violation, one complaint, one hint that this placement is unsuitable, and Leo goes back into state custody. Am I clear? Crystal, Your Honor, Margaret said. Rook stood straight. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Don't thank me yet. I'm taking a massive risk here. Don't make me regret it. Judge Morrison looked at Leo one more time. Young man, if at any point you feel unsafe or unhappy, you tell someone. Your caseworker, your teacher, anyone. Don't try to protect Mr. Donovan's feelings. Your safety comes first. Understood? Yes. Good. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Just like that, Leo's life changed direction again. Outside the courthouse, Sharon hugged Leo so hard his ribs creaked. You call me anytime. Even if it's just to talk about airplanes or whatever. I want to know you're okay. I will. And if it doesn't work out, if you need, if anything, he'll be fine, Rook said quietly. I've got him. Sharon pulled back, wiped her eyes. You better. Because if you hurt him, if you let him down, I will find a way to make your life hell, Marine or not. Rook's smile was genuine. Fair enough. She left in her car, pulling away slowly, like leaving too fast might break something. Leo watched until she turned the corner and disappeared. Well, Rook said, guess we should get you home. Where's home? My place, above the Iron Titans clubhouse. It's not fancy, but it's clean and it's safe. And it's got a spare room that's yours now. They walked to Rook's bike parked at the curb. A big Harley, all chrome and black leather. Rook pulled a helmet from the saddlebag, helped Leo put it on. You ever ridden before? Leo shook his head. Okay, here's the rules. You hold on to me tight. When I lean, you lean with me. Don't fight it, just follow my lead. And no sudden movements. Got it? Got it. Leo climbed on behind Rook, wrapped his arms around the big man's waist. The engine rumbled to life beneath them, vibrating through Leo's entire body in a way that should have been overwhelming, but somehow wasn't. It was steady, predictable, constant. They pulled into traffic and the city opened up around them in a way Leo had never experienced. No walls, no windows, just speed and sound and the feeling of moving forward. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, maybe longer, Leo felt something that might have been hope. The clubhouse was brick and steel, solid as a fortress. Rook parked in back, killed the engine. Come on, let's introduce you to the family. Inside the club was gathering for what looked like a meeting. Men in leather vests, some young, some old, all carrying the weight of battles fought and survived. They turned as Rook entered Leo at his side. "Brothers," Rook said, "this is Leo. As of 30 minutes ago, he's family. Anyone got a problem with that?" The room was silent. Then Axel stepped forward, extended his hand to Leo. "Welcome home, kid." One by one, the others followed. Torch, Snake, Gunner, men with names like weapons and eyes like survivors. Each one shook Leo's hand, welcomed him, accepted him without question or hesitation. And for the first time in his 8 years of life, Leo understood what family actually meant. Rook's apartment smelled like leather and motor oil and something Leo couldn't quite name, but recognized anyway, the scent of a place where someone actually lived instead of just existed. The stairs leading up from the clubhouse were steep and narrow, each step creaking under their weight like a warning or a welcome. "It's not much," Rook said, unlocking the door, "but it's clean and quiet when the bar's closed, which it is most nights by midnight." Leo stepped inside. The main room held a couch that had seen better days, a coffee table covered in motorcycle magazines, a small kitchen with appliances that looked older than Leo. But everything was neat, organized, military precise. "Your room's through here." Rook led him down a short hallway. The door opened onto a space maybe 10 by 12 with a single bed, a dresser, and a window that looked out over the alley. Empty. Waiting. "I know it's bare," Rook said. "Figured we'd get you some stuff. Posters, whatever you want. Make it yours." Leo set his backpack on the bed. His model airplane went on the dresser next to Axel's stone. "It's good." "Yeah." "It's quiet. I can think here." Rook's expression softened. "Good. That's good. You hungry?" "A little. I'll order pizza. You get settled, unpack your stuff. Bathrooms across the hall, towels are in the cabinet. You need anything, I'm right next door." After Rook left, Leo sat on the bed and tried to process what had just happened. This morning, he'd been waiting to get shipped to a group home. Now he was living above a biker bar with a man he'd known for less than a week. It should have felt wrong. Dangerous. Instead, it felt like the first time anything had made sense. His phone buzzed. "Sharon, did you make it okay?" Leo typed back, "Yes, he has a room for me. It's nice." "Good, I'm glad. Call me tomorrow." "Okay." "I mean it, Leo. I want to hear from you, even if everything's fine." "I will." He set the phone down, pulled his few belongings from the backpack. 3 shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, underwear and socks. A toothbrush, the sum total of his portable life, fit in 2 dresser drawers with room left over. Someone knocked on the doorframe. Torch stood there, his burn scars catching the overhead light. "Hey kid, Rook's got pizza downstairs. You coming?" Leo followed him down to the clubhouse main room where the others had gathered around a long table. Pizza boxes were stacked in the center grease, already seeping through cardboard. The men made space for Leo without being asked, Axel pulling out a chair like it had always been meant for him. "Hope you like pepperoni," Gunner said, sliding a plate across the table. "It's pretty much all Rook orders." Leo took a slice, bit into it. 2 hot cheese burning the roof of his mouth, but he didn't care. Around him, the Iron Titans ate and talked, their voices overlapping in a rhythm Leo was starting to recognize. Not chaos, controlled noise. Everyone speaking, but everyone also listening. "So the DA's dropping it," Snake was saying. "Self-defense clear-cut. Frank said they're not even going to present to the grand jury." "What about the feds?" Torch asked. Rook shook his head. "Cartel hit means federal interest, but our lawyer says they're viewing us as victims, not suspects. We cooperated fully, gave statements, handed over evidence. We're clean." "For now," Axel muttered. "For now," Rook agreed. "But we stay smart. No club business that even smells questionable. No tolerance for anything that gives them an excuse to dig deeper." "Because of the kid," Gunner said, not a question. "Because of the kid," Rook confirmed. "We've got eyes on us now. Child services, media, probably some 3-letter agencies. We need to be cleaner than clean." Leo kept eating, listening. They were changing their world for him, restructuring their lives around keeping him safe. The weight of that should have been crushing, but instead it felt like armor, like protection. Speaking of media, Snake pulled out his phone, scrolled through something. "TMZ's running a story. Biker gang president adopts charity event hero. They've got pictures of us leaving the courthouse." "Let me see that." Rook took the phone, read his jaw tightening. Jesus, they make it sound like I'm running some kind of publicity stunt. Are you? Torch's question was gentle but serious. Rook looked up sharply. What? Brother, I've known you 15 years. I've never seen you bring anyone home. Not a woman, not a friend, definitely not a kid. Now suddenly you're fighting judges and social workers for custody of an 8-year-old you met 3 days ago. So I'm asking what's really going on here. The table went quiet, everyone watching, waiting. Rook set the phone down carefully. You want the truth, always. The truth is, I look at that kid and I see myself at 8 years old. Different circumstances, same feeling. Like the world's moving too fast and too loud and nobody speaks your language. My old man was a drunk who solved problems with his fists. My mother left when I was 6. I spent my childhood trying to be invisible, trying not to trigger the next beating. And when I finally got out, joined the Corps, thought I'd found my place, turns out war just gave me new reasons to feel broken. He paused, looked at Leo directly. Then this kid shows up at a charity event and does something I've seen grown soldiers fail to empower. He saw danger, overcame his fear and his limitations and warned me anyway. Saved my life. Saved a lot of lives. And instead of getting thanks, instead of getting help, the system's ready to shuffle him off to another placement that won't work. So yeah, maybe this is crazy. Maybe I'm in over my head. But I'll be damned if I watch another kid get failed by everyone who's supposed to protect him. Torch nodded slowly. Okay then. Okay. You said your piece. I believe you. We all do. Just wanted to hear you say it out loud. Torch grabbed another slice of pizza. Kid's family now. We protect family. The others murmured agreement. Crisis averted. Decision made. Just like that. Leo's chest felt tight, but in a good way, like something expanding instead of collapsing. Thank you, he said quietly. Rook's hand landed on his shoulder. Nothing to thank us for. You're one of us now. After dinner, Rook showed Leo the rest of the clubhouse. The garage where they worked on bikes, tools hanging in perfect rows. The meeting room with its long table and chairs that looked like they'd survived battles. The small gym with weights and a heavy bag that bore the imprints of 10,000 angry punches. You work out, Leo asked. Every morning. Helps clear my head. You're welcome to join me if you want. Or not. No pressure. I'm not very strong. Neither was I at your age. Strength comes with time and practice. But that's not really what the gym's for anyway. What's it for? Control. When your head's too loud, when the memories won't shut up, when you feel like you're going to explode, you come here. You hit the bag until your knuckles bleed or your arms won't lift anymore. And then you can breathe again. Leo understood that better than he could explain. The airplane, my model, that's my heavy bag. Yeah, how so? When everything's too much, I focus on it. Count the rivets, trace the panel lines, recite specifications. All the noise goes away, and there's just the plane. Rook smiled. Then we're not so different after all. They headed back upstairs as the sun dropped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple that hurt to look at. Rook showed Leo how to work the shower where spare blankets were kept, how to lock the apartment door from inside. I'm usually up by 6, Rook said, but you sleep as late as you need. School doesn't start for you until we get enrollment sorted out. Probably a few days. I don't like school. Yeah, I got that impression. What don't you like about it? Leo thought about how to explain. The other kids, they know I'm different and they make sounds at me, whisper things. Teachers try, but they don't understand. They think if they just explain things better, I'll suddenly be normal. But I can't be normal. My brain doesn't work that way. Normal's overrated anyway. Some of the best people I know are completely abnormal. Rook sat down on Leo's bed, gestured for him to sit too. Listen, school's going to be hard. Not going to lie to you about that, but we'll find something that works. Maybe a different school, maybe tutoring, maybe homeschool. We've got options. For now, just rest. Let your brain settle. Rook. Yeah, buddy. Why did those men try to kill you? Rook was quiet for a moment. Because I made enemies? In my old life, before I got clean, before I turned the club around, we did business with people who don't forgive mistakes. I thought I'd left that world behind. Guess it didn't leave me. Are more coming or bad men? I don't know, maybe. We're taking precautions just in case, but that's my problem to handle, not yours. It's my problem too. I live here now. Fair point. Rook's smile was grim. Okay, here's the truth. The men who came after me were cartel enforcers, professionals. The fact that 4 of them failed means whoever sent them is going to be angry, might send more, might decide it's not worth it. We don't know yet, but until we do, we're being careful. No unnecessary risks, eyes always open. I'm good at seeing things, Leo said, things other people miss. I know you are, and if you see something that doesn't feel right, you tell me immediately. Deal. Deal. Rook stood stretched. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be busy. Social workers coming by for the first home check. We need to make a good impression. But sleep didn't come easy. Leo lay in the unfamiliar bed in the unfamiliar room, listening to unfamiliar sounds. The bar below had open music thumping up through the floor. Voices and laughter, the occasional roar of a motorcycle pulling up or leaving. But underneath it all, steady as a heartbeat, he could hear Rook moving around in the next room, the sound of someone watching, protecting. Leo's phone lit up with a text from Sharon. Good night, Leo. Sweet dreams. He typed back, good night. Then after a pause, thank you for everything. You're welcome, honey. You're a special kid. Don't ever forget that. Morning came too bright and too early. Leo woke to the smell of coffee and bacon, sounds of movement from the kitchen. He pulled on clothes, padded out to find Rook at the stove cooking enough food for a small army. Morning, Rook said without turning around. You like eggs? Yes. Scrambled okay? Yes. Good, grab a plate. They ate in comfortable silence, Rook reading something on his phone while Leo focused on making his eggs last as long as possible. The food was good, better than good, made with attention and care. Social worker gets here at 10, Rook said eventually. Woman named Patricia Henley. She's going to ask you questions, private questions, away from me. She needs to make sure you feel safe here. I do feel safe. I know, but she needs to hear it from you. And Leo, Rook set his phone down, met Leo's eyes. If at any point you don't feel safe, if anything changes, if I do something that scares you or makes you uncomfortable, you tell her. You understand, this only works if you're honest. I will be. Good. Patricia Henley arrived at 9:58, a black woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a manner that suggested she'd seen everything and believed half of it. She introduced herself, shook Rook's hand, smiled at Leo. Well, she said, looking around the apartment, this is certainly unique. It's home, Rook said simply. I can see that. May I? She gestured to the apartment. Of course. Leo, why don't you show Ms. Henley your room? Leo led her down the hall. Patricia took her time examining everything. The window locks, the smoke detector, the cleanliness of the sheets. She opened the closet, checked the bathroom, looked under the bed. How are you settling in, Leo? She asked. Good. Just good. Really good. It's quiet here. I can think. That's important to you, quiet? Yes, my brain needs it. Patricia sat on the edge of the bed, patted the space next to her. Can we talk just you and me? Leo sat hands folded in his lap. I want you to know that everything you tell me is confidential, Patricia said. Mr. Donovan won't know what we discuss unless you want him to. Do you understand? Yes. Good. So tell me, do you feel safe here? Yes. Has Mr. Donovan threatened you in any way, Leo? No. Has he hit you, yelled at you, made you feel scared? No, never. What about the other men, the ones downstairs in the club? They're nice. They treat me like I matter. Patricia made notes on her tablet. Leo, I need to ask you something important. Why do you think Mr. Donovan wanted to foster you? Leo thought about that. Because he understands what it's like to not fit, to have everyone look at you like you're broken. And do you think you're broken? Most people do. They don't say it, but I can see it in their eyes. Like they're waiting for me to mess up so they can prove they were right about me. But not Mr. Donovan. Not him, not the Iron Titans. They look at me like I'm just another person, like being different is normal. Patricia's expression softened. That must feel good. It feels like I can breathe. They talked for another 20 minutes, about school, about nightmares, about what Leo did when he got overwhelmed. Patricia's questions were gentle but thorough, probing for any hint of danger or neglect. Finally, she thanked Leo for his honesty. Back in the main room, she spent another 30 minutes with Rook, asking about his plans, his support system, his understanding of autism and trauma. Rook answered everything calmly, honestly, never trying to oversell or minimize. "I'm not perfect," he told her. "I've got my own issues, my own history, but I've done the work. Therapy, medication when I needed it, support groups. I know my triggers, I know how to ask for help, and I've got a whole club of brothers who will step in if I'm struggling." "What about discipline?" Patricia asked. "How do you plan to handle behavioral issues?" "Depends on the behavior, but I don't believe in corporal punishment if that's what you're asking. Timeouts, loss of privileges, natural consequences, those work fine. And with Leo specifically, I'm still learning what works. Every kid's different." "You've done your research." "Spent the last 2 days reading everything I could find about autism trauma foster care. Talked to specialists, made appointments with a child psychologist for Leo. I'm not going into this blind." Patricia made more notes. When she finally looked up, her expression was cautiously optimistic. "Mr. Donovan, I'm going to be frank with you. This is one of the most unusual placements I've ever evaluated. Everything about it screams red flags. Single male, no prior foster experience, criminal associations, living above a bar." Rook's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. "However," Patricia continued, "I've also never seen a child light up the way Leo does when he talks about you. And I've never seen a foster parent do as much preparation work in 72 hours. So I'm going to recommend continuation of the emergency placement, but I'll be checking in weekly. Unannounced visits, regular interviews with Leo, and at the first sign of trouble, he's removed. Are we clear?" "Crystal." "Good, I'll be back next Thursday. Have a nice day, gentlemen." After she left, Rook let out a breath he'd been holding. "Well, that went better than expected." "She believed me," Leo said. "Yeah, she did." Rook looked at him with something like wonder. "You were great in there. Honest, clear, exactly what she needed to hear." "I told the truth, that's all." Sometimes that's everything. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Axel stopped by with bags of clothes, jeans, shirts, a jacket, all in Leo's size. When Leo asked where they came from, Axel just smiled and said donations. Snake brought books, a mix of fiction and nonfiction about airplanes and space and history. Torch delivered a laptop slightly used but functional with educational software already installed. "You don't have to," Leo started, but Gunnar cut him off. "Family takes care of family. Get used to it, kid." That evening, Rook took Leo to a diner 3 blocks from the clubhouse. The place was old, with cracked vinyl booths and a waitress who called everyone honey. They ordered burgers and fries, and Rook watched Leo eat with an expression that was part concern, part satisfaction. "You always this quiet when you eat?" Rook asked. "Food requires concentration. If I talk, I might choke." "Fair enough." They were halfway through their meal when Leo's attention snagged on movement outside the window. A car, dark sedan, driving too slow. It passed the diner, once circled the block, came back. Third time around, it stopped across the street. "Rook," Leo said quietly. "I see it." Rook's hand moved to his phone, typed something quick. "Don't stare. Just keep eating." "Who is it?" "Don't know yet. Could be reporters. Could be cuffs. Could be nothing." The car sat there for 5 minutes. Then 10. A man got out, older Hispanic, wearing a suit too nice for the neighborhood. He looked at the diner, at the clubhouse, down the street, back at the diner. Then he pulled out a phone, made a call. Rook's phone buzzed. He looked at it, his expression going cold. "Axel says we've got 2 more cars positioned at the other end of the block. They're boxing us in." Leo's heart started hammering. "Cartel! Maybe, or maybe I'm being paranoid." But Rook's hand was already moving, pulling Leo from the booth. "Come on, we're leaving through the kitchen." The waitress tried to protest, but Rook dropped 2 20s on the counter and kept moving. They pushed through the kitchen doors into organized chaos, cooks shouting, pans sizzling, steam everywhere. Rook found the back exit, pushed it open. The alley was dark and narrow, trash bins lined up like soldiers. Rook pulled Leo close, moving fast but not running. Running drew attention. They were 20 feet from the street when headlights flooded the alley entrance, the dark sedan blocking their path. "Other way," Rook hissed, turning, but another car appeared at the opposite end. Trapped. Rook's hand found his phone again, typing furiously. Then he pulled Leo behind a dumpster, his body positioned between Leo and the cars. Listen to me very carefully. Rook said, his voice deadly calm. Whatever happens, you stay behind me. You don't run unless I tell you to run, and if I tell you to run, you run straight to the clubhouse and you don't look back. Understand? Yes. Good boy. Doors open, footsteps echoed in the alley. 4 men, maybe 5. Hard to tell in the darkness. Mr. Donovan, the voice was smooth accented. We just want to talk. Funny way of starting a conversation. Rook called back, blocking both exits. Precaution. You understand precautions. What do you want? My employer wants to know why you killed his men. Your employer sent them to kill me. I defended myself. A misunderstanding. They were only supposed to observe, report back. Someone made an error in judgment. 4 professional hitters showing up with tactical gear and assault rifles doesn't sound like observation. Nevertheless, my employer regrets the incident. He wishes to make amends. How generous? What kind of amends? Money, enough to relocate, start fresh somewhere else. All we ask is that you leave the city. Tonight. Leo felt Rook's body tense. And if I refuse, then we have a problem. You understand problems? Yes. How they multiply, how they affect those around us. The threat was clear. Leave or watch everyone you care about die. Rook's hand moved, found Leo's shoulder, squeezed once. The signal they'd agreed on earlier. Be ready. I need to think about it, Rook said. Think fast. We have appointments elsewhere. That's when Leo heard it. The soft scrape of metal on leather. Someone drawing a weapon. Now, Rook's shout split the night. Everything happened at once. Rook grabbed Leo, threw them both behind the dumpster as gunfire erupted. But the shots weren't coming at them. They were coming from above. The roof, snake and torch positioned there, returning fire. More shots from the street. Axel and Gunnar charging the alley from both sides, catching the cartel men in a crossfire. It was over in seconds. 4 bodies on the ground, 1 man running, making it maybe 20 feet before Axel's shot dropped him. Silence. Then sirens distant but approaching fast. Rook pulled Leo to his feet, checked him for injuries. You did anything? No, I'm okay. We need to move, now. They ran Rook, pulling Leo through a maze of alleys and side streets. Behind them, voices shouted, more sirens joined the first. The whole neighborhood was waking up to war. The clubhouse door slammed open. Rook shoved Leo inside, locked it behind them. The other Titans were already there, weapons out, faces grim. They knew, Torch said, knew exactly where we'd be when we'd be vulnerable. Someone talked. Or someone's watching us, Snake added. Cameras, tracking. They've had time to set up surveillance. Rook's hands were shaking. He curled them into fists, pressed them against his thighs. This was my fault. I got complacent, thought we were safe because the cops cleared us. Boss, this isn't... I put Leo in danger again. This has to stop. It will stop, Axel said quietly, when they're all dead. The room went still, everyone understanding what that meant. Rook looked at each of his brothers in turn. This is war now, real war. They came at us twice. They'll come again. We need to decide, do we run or do we fight? We fight, Gunnar said immediately. We fight, Torch echoed. One by one, the others agreed. No hesitation, no fear, just acceptance. Then we do this smart, Rook said. We fortify this place. We set up proper surveillance. We get Leo somewhere safe until it's over. No, Leo's voice was small but firm. I stay here. Leo, this is too dangerous. You said family protects family. I'm family now. I stay. Rook stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded. Okay, but you follow every order every time, no questions. That's the price. I will. Then let's get to work. They spent the night transforming the clubhouse into a fortress, reinforcing doors, installing security cameras, checking weapons, establishing protocols. Leo helped where he could, mostly staying out of the way, but watching everything, learning the language of preparation and defense. Around 3 in the morning, Rook pulled him aside. You should sleep. Can't, too wired. Yeah, me too. Rook sat on the couch, pulled Leo down next to him. I'm sorry, this isn't what you signed up for. What did I sign up for? Safety, stability, a normal life. Leo looked at the men moving around the clubhouse, each one focused and determined, each one ready to die to protect the others. This is better than normal. Normal is fake. This is real. Rook's laugh was surprised. You're an old soul, you know that. People tell me that. I don't know what it means. Means you understand things you shouldn't understand yet. Means you've lived more in 8 years than some people do in 80. Rook's arms settled around Leo's shoulders. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. Even with everything going to hell, I'm glad. Me too. They sat like that, watching the dawn creep through windows covered with steel mesh, waiting for whatever came next. Outside, the city woke to news of another shooting, another mystery, another chapter in the story of the Iron Titans and the boy who'd saved them all. But inside the clubhouse, surrounded by warriors who'd claimed him as their own, Leo felt something he'd never felt before. He felt like he belonged. The war lasted 3 weeks, though it felt like 3 years. Detective Frank showed up the morning after the alley ambush, his face haggard, his tie loose around his neck like a noose he'd almost escaped. He stood in the clubhouse doorway and didn't ask to come in. Just looked at Rook with eyes that had seen too much death. 5 more bodies, Frank said. Makes 9 total connected to you in less than a week. The DA's getting nervous. The chief's getting calls from Washington. And I'm getting pressure to bring you in. I didn't start this, Rook said. No, but you're finishing it, and that's almost worse. You know how this looks, biker gang executing cartel enforcers in the streets? The media's having a field day. Violent MC protects child hero. That's tomorrow's headline. What do you want me to do? Frank, roll over. Let them kill me, kill my brothers, kill that kid in there. Frank's eyes flicked past Rook to where Leo sat at the table building something with Legos Torch had brought him. The kid's the problem. As long as he's here, you're a target. And as long as you're a target, innocent people are in the crossfire. There haven't been any civilian casualties. Yet. But it's coming. You know it is. This escalates any further, someone's going to get hurt who doesn't deserve it. Rook's jaw tightened. What are you suggesting? Protective custody. For the kid. We put him somewhere safe, somewhere the cartel can't find him until this blows over. No. The word came from Leo, who'd abandoned his Legos and moved closer. I'm not leaving. Frank looked at him with something like pity. Son, you don't understand what's happening here. I understand perfectly. Bad men want to hurt Rook because he wouldn't let them hurt people at the park. And now they want to hurt me to hurt him. But if I leave, they win. They get what they want. They get you alive, which is better than the alternative. Detective Frank, Leo's voice was steady, too old for his body. I've been in 6 foster homes in 2 years. Every time people promised safety, every time I ended up somewhere worse. Rook is the first person who's actually kept me safe. I'm not leaving him. Frank sighed, rubbed his face. Rook talked some sense into him. Can't. He's right. Rook's hand found Leo's shoulder. We're family now. Family stays together. Even if it gets him killed, it won't. We got security protocols, backup plans. And we're not sitting around waiting for them to come at us again. We're taking the fight to them. Frank's expression went cold. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me anything I'd have to arrest you for. Then maybe you should leave. Frank did, but not before giving Leo one last look that seemed to say, sorry, kid, you picked the wrong side. The door closed behind him with a finality that felt like surrender. Axel emerged from the back room where he'd been monitoring security feeds. We've got movement. 3 cars, 2 blocks out, circling. Same as yesterday, Rook asked. Different vehicles, same pattern. They're probing, testing our response times. Let them probe. We're ready. But they weren't ready for what came next. That afternoon, while Leo was working through math problems, Rook had printed off the internet, Sharon called. Her voice was shaking so badly, Leo almost couldn't understand her. They came to my house, she said. 2 men, Hispanic. They asked about you, Leo. They wanted to know where you were. Leo's blood went cold. What did you tell them? Nothing. I said I didn't know that child services moved you and I wasn't told where. But Leo, they knew. They knew I was lying. One of them showed me a picture of you and Rook leaving the courthouse together. They said, her voice broke. They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd come back with something other than questions. Rook took the phone from Leo's numb fingers. Sharon, this is Rook. Are you safe right now? I don't know. I locked all the doors. But what if they come back? What if they pack a bag, one bag essentials only? I'm sending Gunner to get you. He'll be there in 15 minutes. You're coming here. I can't. If they see me, leave. If they follow, they won't. Gunner knows how to shake a tail. Pack the bag, Sharon, now. She did. 20 minutes later, Gunner's bike pulled up with Sharon clinging to his back, her face pale, her hands shaking. Rook brought her inside, settled her on the couch with coffee she didn't drink. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to put you in more danger. You didn't, Rook said. This was coming regardless. But it confirms something. They're not just after me anymore. They're going after everyone connected to Leo, everyone who matters to him. Why? Sharon's voice was small. Why do they care this much about one child? Because he's not just a child to them. He's leverage. They think if they threaten him, I'll back down. Give them what they want. Which is what? Me dead and the club destroyed. We've been a thorn in their side for years, disrupting their operations, reporting their activities. They want us gone. Sharon looked at Leo, who sat cross-legged on the floor, his Legos abandoned, listening to everything. What are you going to do? Oh, am I end it one way or another? That night, Rook gathered the Iron Titans for a meeting Leo wasn't supposed to hear, but did anyway, pressing his ear to the floor vent in his room. We've got two choices, Rook was saying. We can keep playing defense, waiting for them to make mistakes, or we can go on offense. Offense means what exactly? That was Torch. Means we find whoever's given the orders and we remove the problem at its source. You're talking about assassination, Snake said. That's a line, Rook. Once we cross it, there's no coming back. We crossed that line when we killed 9 of their men. We're already at war. Question is whether we want to fight it on our terms or theirs. Silence. Then Axel, I'm in, whatever it takes. Me too, Gunner added. One by one they agreed. Leo heard chairs scraping, footsteps moving. The meeting was over. The decision made. He climbed back into bed, stared at the ceiling, and tried not to think about what he'd just heard. Tried not to think about good men planning murder to protect him. Tried not to feel the weight of all those lives balanced on his 8-year-old shoulders. His phone buzzed. A text from Rook. You awake? Yes. Come downstairs. Need to talk. Leo found Rook in his garage sitting on a workbench, cleaning a gun, with the kind of focused attention that meant his mind was somewhere else entirely. He set the weapon down when Leo appeared. You heard, Rook said, not a question. Yes. And Mao, I don't want anyone to die because of me. They're not dying because of you. They're dying because the cartel made a choice to come after us. You saved lives, Leo. Everything that's happened since is just consequence. Consequence means people get hurt, sometimes. But sometimes consequence means bad people face justice they've been avoiding for years. Rook pulled Leo closer, his hands gentle on the boy's shoulders. Listen to me. What we're planning, it's not something I want you involved in, not something I want you to even think about. But I need you to understand why it's necessary. These people, they don't stop, they don't negotiate, they don't show mercy. The only language they understand is force. So we're going to speak their language, and then this ends. What if it doesn't? What if there's always someone else, someone worse? Then we deal with that too, but we do it together as a family. That's what families do. They protect each other no matter the cost. Leo wanted to argue, wanted to find words that would make this all stop, that would rewind time back to before the park, before the shooting, before any of this started. But he couldn't, because deep down in a place he didn't like to acknowledge, he understood. Some problems couldn't be talked away. Some enemies wouldn't be reasoned with. Sometimes the only solution was violence. When Leo asked, tomorrow night, we've got a location, a contact who's willing to talk. If it pans out, we move fast. Can I help? No, absolutely not. You stay here with Sharon, doors locked, security on. This is not negotiable. Leo nodded, even though part of him wanted to protest, wanted to be there to see it through, to prove he was strong enough to handle the consequences of his own actions. But another part, the part that was still 8 years old and scared and tired, was grateful to be left behind. The next day crawled by like an injured animal. Sharon tried to distract Leo with card games and reading, but neither of them could focus. The clubhouse felt empty, with most of the Titans gone, felt vulnerable despite all the security measures. Every sound made them jump. Every shadow held potential threats. Rook called at noon. "We've confirmed the location. High-level meeting tonight, 7 o'clock. The man we want will be there." "Be careful," Leo said. "Always buddy. You take care of Sharon for me, okay? She's trying to be brave, but I can tell she's scared." "Okay. Love you, kid." The words hit Leo like a physical blow. Nobody had ever said that to him before. Not his birth parents who'd given him up. Not any of his foster families. Not Sharon, though he thought maybe she'd wanted to. "Love you too," Leo whispered back, and meant it more than he'd ever meant anything. 7 o'clock came and went, then 8, then 9. Sharon paced the apartment like a caged animal. Leo sat on the couch, his phone clutched in both hands, willing it to ring. At 9:30, headlights flooded the windows. Motorcycles, multiple bikes pulling up fast. Doors slamming, voices shouting. Leo ran to the window. Torch and Snake were carrying someone between them. Someone covered in blood. "Axel." Sharon gasped. Leo's hands went numb. They watched as the Titans hauled Axel inside, laid him on the meeting table, started pulling off his shirt to reveal 3 gunshot wounds. Shoulder, abdomen, thigh. "Call Doc Martinez," Torch was shouting. "Now puedo." "Where's Rook?" Sharon demanded, appearing at the top of the stairs. "Where is he?" Gunner looked up, his face streaked with blood and dirt. "Still there, still fighting. It was a trap. They were waiting for us." Leo's world tilted. "He's alive. Last time I saw him, but it's bad, kid. Real bad. We were outnumbered 3-1. Leo didn't think, didn't plan, just moved. He grabbed Axel's jacket off the hook by the door, pulled it on over his pajamas, and ran for the door. "Leo, no." Sharon lunged for him, but he was faster, smaller already, through the door and down the stairs. Snake tried to intercept him in the parking lot. "Kid, get back inside. Take me there, to Rook, now." "Are you insane? It's a war zone. He needs help. You said you were outnumbered. One more person makes a difference. You're 8 years old. I can see things you can't see. I can help. Please, Snake, please." Snake looked at Torch, who'd followed them out. Some wordless communication passed between them. Then Torch cursed, grabbed a helmet, shoved it on Leo's head. "You stay behind me. You do exactly what I say. And if I tell you to run, you run. Clear." Clear. They mounted bikes. The engines roared to life. And then they were flying through city streets, running red lights, weaving through traffic, racing toward gunfire that grew louder with every block. The warehouse district was burning. Not literally, not yet, but close. Smoke poured from broken windows. The crack of gunfire echoed between buildings. Bodies lay in the street, hard to tell who's in the darkness. Torch pulled up behind a concrete barrier, killed his engine. "Stay here. Do not move." But Leo was already scanning the area, his eyes picking out details others would miss. 3 shooters on the roof of the main warehouse. 2 more in the alley to the left. And there, through a ground floor window, a flash of leather vest. Rook. "He's in the main building," Leo said. "Ground floor, east side, but there's men between here and there." "How many? 7, maybe 8. They're positioned to prevent anyone from getting to him." Torch pulled out his phone, relayed the information. 30 seconds later, Gunner and 2 other Titans Leo didn't know appeared from different directions. They moved like ghosts, like the professionals they'd been before they were bikers. The gunfire intensified, then stopped, then started again further away. Someone screamed, someone else shouted orders in Spanish. "Now," Torch hissed. "Move." They ran, keeping low, using vehicles and debris for cover. Leo stayed glued to Torch's back, his heart hammering so hard it hurt. They made it to the warehouse entrance, where the door hung open, torn off its hinges by something explosive. Inside was chaos, overturned furniture, shattered glass, blood on the concrete floor. And in the corner behind a makeshift barricade of industrial equipment, Rook. He was alive, but barely. Blood soaked his shirt, his face was swollen and bruised, his breathing came in short gasps. His gun lay empty beside him. He was out of ammunition, out of options. Rook. Torch was there in seconds, checking vitals, applying pressure to the worst wounds. Rook's eyes found Leo. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you, but here we are." A smile flickered across Rook's bloodied face. "Stubborn like me." "They're regrouping." Gunner called from the doorway. "We've got maybe 2 minutes before they rush us." "Can you move him?" Torch asked. "Not without tearing something important. He needs a hospital." "Hospital means cops. Cops mean questions we can't answer." "Then we hold here, make our stand." Leo looked around the warehouse, his brain processing information faster than it ever had before. Exit points, cover positions, sight lines, and there in the corner, something nobody else had noticed. "The forklift," he said, pointing. "Keys are in it. If we can get it started, we can use it to block the main entrance. Force them to come in the side doors one at a time." Torch stared at him. That's actually brilliant." "I'll do it," Gunner said, already moving. The forklift roared to life. Gunner drove it across the warehouse floor, positioned it perfectly to create a choke point. Just as he jumped clear, the first wave of Cartel soldiers hit the building. But now they had to funnel through narrow doorways, exposing themselves as they entered. The Titans picked them off methodically, professionally, showing the kind of controlled violence that came from years of combat experience. Leo pressed himself against the wall, making himself small, trying not to see the bodies dropping, trying not to hear the screams. But he couldn't look away from Rook, who was fading, his skin going pale, his eyes losing focus. "Stay with me," Leo whispered, taking Rook's hand. "Please stay with me." "Not going anywhere." Rook's fingers squeezed weakly. "Promised, didn't I?" "You promised." The gunfire slowed, stopped. Torch cautiously looked out, scanned the area. "They're pulling back. Why are they pulling back?" The answer came in the form of sirens. Lots of them. Cops, fire trucks, ambulances, all converging on the warehouse district. "Someone called it in," Snake said. "Probably neighbors. This is too loud to ignore." "We need to leave, now." Torch started gathering weapons, wiping prints, destroying evidence. "What about Rook?" Leo asked. "We leave him for the ambulance. Tell the cops he was ambushed, fought back. We showed up as backup. Close enough to the truth." "I'm not leaving him." "Kit, I said I'm not leaving him." Torch looked at Gunner, who shrugged. "Let him stay. Someone needs to tell the cops the real story anyway." So the Titans melted away into the night, leaving Leo and Rook alone in the warehouse as the sirens grew deafening. The first officers through the door found a bleeding man and a small boy holding his hand, neither willing to let go. The hospital was sterile white and antiseptic smells. Leo sat in a plastic chair outside surgery, Sharon beside him, both of them silent and exhausted. Detective Frank had tried to question them, but Margaret Chen had appeared like an avenging angel and shut that down fast. "Not without legal representation," she'd said, "and definitely not without sleep and food." Hours passed, dawn came. A surgeon finally emerged, pulling off bloody gloves. "He'll live," the doctor said. "Lost a lot of blood, took damage to several organs, but he'll live. He's strong, stubborn maybe, but strong." Leo started crying, couldn't help it. All the fear and tension of the past weeks pouring out in great heaving sobs that shook his whole body. Sharon pulled him close, her own tears falling into his hair. "It's okay," she whispered. "He's okay. You're both okay." 2 days later, Rook woke up to find Leo asleep in the chair next to his hospital bed, his hands still wrapped around Rook's. The room was dim, quiet, except for the beep of monitors and the soft sounds of breathing. Rook's other hand, the one not tethered to IVs, reached out, touched Leo's hair gently. The boy stirred, blinked awake, and for a moment just stared at Rook like he was a ghost. "You're awake," Leo said finally. "Apparently. You okay?" "Am I okay?" "You're the one who almost died." "But I didn't. Thanks in part to you, from what I hear." "Torch said you figured out the defensive position." "I just saw things. Like always." "Yeah, like always." Rook's smile was weak but genuine. "Sharon told me what you did, running into a firefight to help me. That was stupid and brave, and I should be furious with you." "Are you, little bit? Mostly just grateful you're alive to be stupid and brave again someday." Detective Frank appeared in the doorway looking like he'd aged a decade in a week. "Rook, good to see you conscious. We need to talk." "Do I need my lawyer?" "Depends. You planning to tell me the truth?" "When have I ever done otherwise?" Frank pulled up a chair. "The cartel leadership is decimated. The man running operations in this city is dead. So are most of his lieutenants. The organization's in chaos, fighting itself for control. Whatever you and your boys did, it worked. The threat's gone. That's supposed to be permission. No, it's a warning. You got lucky this time. The brass is willing to call it self-defense, call it over. But you don't get another pass. You understand next time we can't look the other way. There won't be a next time. Good, because that kid deserves better than growing up in a war zone. Frank stood, moved toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, you did good, Rook. Protecting him. Most men would have cut and run. You stayed. That counts for something. After Frank left, Rook was quiet for a long time. Finally, he looked at Leo and said, "You know this changes everything, right? Judge Morrison, Child Services, everyone's going to be watching us closer than ever, making sure I can provide a safe environment. Do you come in? Can you?" "Yeah, I think I can. The club's going legitimate. No more gray areas, no more questionable business. We're going straight. Charity work, veteran outreach, community programs. Clean. Because of me. Because of you. Because you're worth it. Because having you in my life means I have to be better than I was." Rook's hand squeezed Leo's. "I meant what I said before. I love you, kid, like you're my own son, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know it." Leo's throat felt tight. What if I mess up? What if I'm too much trouble? Then we'll handle it together. That's what family does. 3 months later, Judge Morrison signed the papers, making Rook Leo's permanent guardian. Sharon was there smiling through tears. Margaret Chen was there looking satisfied. The entire Iron Titans MC was there, dressed in their best clothes, looking uncomfortable but proud. Afterward, there was a party at the clubhouse. Not the wild kind the Titans used to throw, but a real family celebration with cake and balloons and kids from the foster program running around laughing. Leo stood in the middle of it all, watching people who'd become his family, feeling more at home than he'd ever felt anywhere. The little girl from the park, the one who'd called Rook Mr. Giant, found Leo in the crowd. She was with her adoptive parents now, a couple who'd been trying for years to have children, and saw her as a miracle. "Hi," she said shyly. "Remember me?" "Yeah, you gave Mr. Rook a hug at the park." "He saved me that day. He saved everyone." She held out a crayon drawing, pressed it into Leo's hands. "I made this for you, because you're a hero too." The drawing showed two stick figures, one big, one small, standing in front of a building labeled home. They were holding hands. Both were smiling. Leo looked at it for a long time, then carefully folded it and put it in his pocket. "Thank you." That night, after everyone left and the clubhouse was quiet, Leo and Rook sat on the apartment couch watching a documentary about World War II aircraft. Leo's head rested against Rook's shoulder, comfortable and safe, and exactly where he belonged. "You ever think about that day?" Rook asked during a commercial. "The park. Every day. Regret." So Leo thought about that, thought about the fear, the violence, the trauma that still woke him up some nights, thought about Sharon's kindness, the Iron Titan's acceptance, Rook's unwavering protection. "No," he said finally, "no regrets. Everything that happened, it brought me here. To you, to them, to home." Rook pulled him closer. "Yeah, me neither." Outside, the city continued its endless noise and motion, indifferent to the small miracle that had occurred within its borders, the miracle of a broken man and a broken boy finding each other and building something whole. The Iron Titans, MC, still rode their motorcycles, still wore their leather and patches, still looked intimidating to outsiders who didn't know better. But now they were also reading bedtime stories to foster kids, teaching veterans how to cope with PTSD, organizing charity events that actually help people instead of just looking good for the cameras. And at the center of it all was Leo, the 8-year-old boy who'd saved them first, who'd given them purpose beyond brotherhood, who'd shown them that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is care about someone else more than yourself. People still called him a hero for what happened at the park, but Leo knew the truth. The real heroes were the ones who'd taken a chance on a difficult kid nobody else wanted, who'd risked everything to keep him safe, who'd transformed their entire lives to give him a future. The real heroes wore leather vests and had tattoos and scars and pasts they weren't proud of. But they had hearts big enough to hold room for one more. And that Leo understood now was the only kind of hero that really mattered. 3 years later, when Leo was 11, and thriving in a specialized school that understood his needs, when Rook's custody had been made permanent and uncontestable, when the Iron Titans had become a model for how motorcycle clubs could serve their communities instead of terrorizing them, Someone asked Leo if he'd do it all again. He didn't hesitate. Every single second. Because that day at the park, I didn't just save Rook's life, he saved mine right back. And he's been saving it every day since. That was the truth of it, the whole truth, nothing left unsaid. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places, wearing the most unexpected faces. Sometimes family isn't the one you're born into, but the one you choose, or that chooses you. And sometimes when an 8-year-old boy with autism spots danger in the shadows and finds the courage to speak up despite every instinct telling him to stay silent, he doesn't just prevent a tragedy. He starts a revolution. He changes lives. He creates a family where none existed before. Leo had found his home. Rook had found his purpose. The Iron Titans had found their redemption. And together they'd proven that heroes don't always wear capes or carry badges. Sometimes they wear leather vests and ride Harleys and protect the vulnerable with a fierce devotion that transforms everyone it touches. That was their story. That was their truth. And it was only just beginning.